I am your host, Miss Pantheress, for OnLive magazine. And OnLive today, online, we have Mr. Bruce Hawes, singer, songwriter, and pianist. And I want to say thank you so much, Mr. Hawes, for rolling in on live with us today. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Nice to meet you and glad to be here.
Oh, good.
Thanks for having me on your show.
Oh, well, I'm happy to have you. And I'm sure a lot of other artists and talent would love to hear what you have to say because you're very inspirational. I read over your story, your book, and everything, and it's like, wow, just exciting. But it's an honor to talk to you, really is. And I see where your motto or your slogan is the one and only.
They call me Bruce Hawes, the one and only. Yes, they do call me Bruce Hawes, the one and only. That's probably been with me for quite some time. They also call me Hawes for the cause. So, because I'm always standing up for someone else.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. I said, okay, well, let's see why you are the one and only. So, let's start off with when did you start in your music career?
Well, I started at age 3. My sisters and my mother were singing in front of the church. My father was an ordained minister from 1811 and very popular and very eloquent speaker, educated minister. And I was sitting back in the church with my godmother, and I jumped off of her lap, ran up and snatched the mic.
Oh, wow.
And I began singing. From then on, my mother started training me with my sisters, and we became the Horse Trio. And she taught me harmony.
Okay.
And my mother was a singer, as well as my father. Both of them were musicians, and they met on the road as singers. So it was natural for all of us to have some musical talent. And that's where I began my musical career as a singer. But as a musician, writer, and then to be a producer and arranger, I began in high school, junior high school actually. I was 14 years old. And I heard a classical piece called The Dirge of the Veterans. And that song of 500 voices singing with Dr. Ella Ferris in Philadelphia inspired me so much that the very next Monday, it was Saturday, I saw the piano in the auditorium. I was getting ready to rehearse for my ninth grade graduation ceremony. I saw the piano, I touched it, and I had a waking dream. I had this vision, and I saw myself traveling, and I saw driving sports cars. I saw my life that was to be.
Wow.
And 2 months later, I had my very first song recorded. That was many years ago.
Oh, okay. When you first, okay.
When I was 14 years old. That was my very first song published.
Okay.
And it was only 2 months after I began singing and writing at age 14.
Wow.
And ever since all through high school, I trained and vocally. I sang with All City. I learned how to sight read. And then when I went to college, I also further did vocal studies, vocal coaching. And one of my classes in college was classical singing, coaching. And I quit after 2 semesters. I quit college because I told my parents I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. They said, "You can stay here. You can live here." Then over the next 9 months, I worked with the Overbrook Singers, the original Overbrook Singers, reunited. I had all the high school choir, gospel choir, and this was an all gospel singing group. I love this group. First choice, Cynthia Biggs, I wrote If Only You Knew for Patti LaBelle. Gregory Hopkins, that is in opera with the Metropolitan Opera. We all began first choice. Vicki Reynolds, and who's now on television, started with Loretta Devine. Ron Dickerson won a Tony Award for the Big River years later, but back in 1972, that year, up to August, I was with that group. And I was dating Annette, or courting her, so to speak.
Uh-huh.
And she had quit me, because I guess I was so immature. And she was ready for she already had a number one record. She was selling all over the country. And so, yeah, I know. It is what it is. But I visited her.
Uh-huh.
I had quit the group, and I began writing my own songs.
Mm-hmm.
But that weekend that I had visited her after she had quit me, I guess when I left, I looked like a wounded puppy.
Uh-huh.
And she said, "Come to see my manager on Monday."
Uh-huh.
And this was in October of 1972.
Mm-hmm.
And I went down to see this guy named Stan Watson, who was the manager. Sat there for 3 hours, and she finally came out and said, "Well, Stan said he can't see you today." I said, "That's okay." And the Saturday before, that evening, when I went to see her, she invited me down. I had gone to a church gospel extravaganza. My whole group was singing in it.
Uh-huh.
And this guy in front of the church gave me a card. It said Mighty Green Music, Earl Shelton, president. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, put it in my wallet. But the day that I was rejected by Stan Watson, I walked to Broad Street, only a few blocks away.
Uh-huh.
And on the jukebox, I went to this hot dog restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't have an allowance anymore, so I have to go to hot dogs.
Okay.
So, the jukebox was playing the Spinners.
Uh-huh.
I listened to the record. I said, I didn't play it because I had the money. So
Uh-huh.
I said, I like that song. I think it was "I'll Be Around."
Uh-huh.
And I walked out of the restaurant, and instead of walking north to take the subway home, I walked south.
Uh-huh.
I walked 2.5 blocks, and I walked to Broad and Locust, where the Academy of Music is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I sang there. I was feeling very down. In fact, I was holding my head down, which I never did. And I looked to the left, and there was the Shubert Theater. I said, hey, that building that man told me about.
Uh-huh.
Free music.
Uh-huh.
I went in my wallet. I called him. He called me up. 2 weeks later, I had all 3 songs I auditioned with, accepted by Tom Bell, the producer of the Spinners.
Oh.
3 months later, I had my first gold apple.
Oh, okay.
How I got into the music business. I had not even planned to have a career as a songwriter.
Uh-huh.
And along the way, everything just kept evolving. I was always in the right place at the right time.
Right. I seen that when I was reading your book, how you made that statement about being consistent.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing about it, no matter what, even after once you made it, you have to be consistent and persistent.
Uh-huh.
Because nothing is absolutely guaranteed.
Right.
For instance, Will I Am just did this record for the winner of The Voice of 2014.
Uh-huh.
He thought he was going to do the entire album, but they stopped him at half of the album.
Uh-huh.
So even for notable and successful writers and producers, nothing's ever guaranteed. You have to just keep going, no matter what the end of results are. If they're not happy, fine. I have more. And I have more challenges ahead.
Right.
And that's what you have to do is don't take no for an answer.
Exactly.
When people tell me no, I'll say, okay, I'll call you at the same time tomorrow. Okay?
I'm going to keep that in mind. I'm going to keep that in mind. Where did you get that from? Yeah, I'll keep that in mind.
I think we should pass that on to young people.
Well, it's good to know. It's good to know because I noticed you have a lot of inspirational quotes, and I like that. It's uplifting, and let's talk about your book. seen where you went through a lot of tragedies, and they told you never walk again, and the whole
Oh,
works.
yeah.
Just things that you've been through, and you still stayed so inspired and so strong and determined to still get to where you are today.
Yes, and I have more places to go. I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm not quitting yet, people. Okay, so I'm working on some new material. I'm working on a remix of I Want to Be Mellow,
Oh.
with new sounds, new instruments, based on the original piece, which is pretty successful. And that particular original piece was done with Laurel Simon and my friend Gus Redman in Chicago. And it's got close to 500,000 spins on it right now.
Oh, okay.
Aggregate between the original and this new one. And so we plan on continuing the tradition of the new trend out of Chicago called steppers. Steppers are R&B steppers. It's a dance, of course, line dance.
Right.
But it's catching on around the world. And so, not to say that it's not R&B, because that's the number one internet spin music genre in the world is R&B. Over rock and roll, hip hop, they're number 7. So all of that, soul, country, nobody's number 1 but R&B. Okay. And that's according to the Recording Industry Association of America. R&B is number 1. So if anyone's listening, don't abandon R&B, because baby is number 1.
And you are hearing it from the one and only.
Hey, I didn't make that up. Okay, this is what America says, and what the statistics say, based on the world statistics.
Oh, okay. I noticed that you have several gold and platinum records that you wrote or you produced, or
everything. I produced, sang on. I sang the stylistics. I was one of the background singers. That sang behind Arian Love and Russell Tompkins, who sang the lead for the song "You Make Me Feel Better," brand new. That was me. That was me in the background singing.
Oh, that. Okay.
Can
I hear a piece now?
That wasn't the stylistics. They were on the road at the time.
Okay.
And Tom was doing the Spinners, Johnny Mathis, and their album. And so he didn't have time to stop. It's for them to get back from making money on the road. So he called Carl, myself, and Joe Jefferson to sing the entire background on that particular Rock and Roll Baby album, that classic. My first recording session was on this Spinners, One of a Kind, Love Affair, where I sang the first soprano. Above the first soprano. Hey, Carla was not happy. Anyways, Carla Benson, sort of sweetheart of Sigma Sound. She told Tom, he said, he said, stand there, he can do this. I did it in one take. And, I've sung on many records, there's many albums that I've sang on, wrote for, arranged, produced. I guess it's about 20 to 30, 40. I don't know what it is anymore. It just keeps going. Because I was also on Mary J. Blige's greatest selling successful album, which was the Mary Mary album, as well as the Dance for Me album. Back to back with Let No Man Put Asunder, which has at least 200 releases historically. It's just Tupac and Dear Mama and Jay-Z and LL Cool J and let's see, James Taylor mentioned me on Larry King Live. I've been in this industry so long, I don't know how many records I've done, but I've got 400 active copyrights, and I've written over several thousand songs.
So did you write Dear Mama by Tupac?
Oh, I wrote the chorus. That's Sadie.
Okay. Oh, Sadie. Right. I love that. I love that.
But that was my life. I wrote, in that particular song, I wrote every melody, every chord, and I wrote 2/3 of those lyrics because that was based on my life with my mother.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You saw his mother's name because when I got to the chorus, I said, "Joe, what's your mother's name?" I said, "That's not it." I said, "My mother's name is Miriam." That's not good. And for the chorus, and Charlie said, "My mother's name is Sadie." I said, "That's it." And I hit the chorus and said, "Sadie, don't you know that it's sweet?" So that's how that happened.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yes, I love all those songs. I just, went through a list of songs that, you wrote and co-wrote and the whole works. And I'm like, wow, it's just so amazing. I love music. And I see that you are, um, so I seen a statement that you made on, training. When you training an artist, you make them, uh, you work with them and otherwise till you make them that artist that they need to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The thing about it, artists tend to be distracted by life.
Uh-huh.
And they also get distracted by their, their trousseaux or their girlfriends or boyfriends.
Uh-huh.
But when it comes to that moment when it's time to prepare for a routine to be recorded or performed, you
Uh-huh.
cannot, you have to shut the phone off and shut the world out. And
Right.
get down to business because uh, this is not automatic. This is
Mm-hmm.
the top artists earn their place on the charts.
Uh-huh.
Most of them.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few in this industry who are very fortunate because they have the idea that they can cheat and take the shortcuts.
Mm-hmm.
But you notice that they are the ones that are not consistent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they're here today and gone tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
They have one-hit wonders.
Right.
So that's a reason, because they don't have a strong foundation.
Right.
They took the shortcuts. And they want to be a star, but they want to take somebody else's work, sample it, and manipulate it, and call it their own.
Right.
And that's not going to give you enough foundation. Obviously, you don't have that much creativity to come up with your own, because every beat and every loop can be actually physically programmed by an individual. You don't have to use sample loops.
Right.
But, if you understand how the instrument is created. But, in the age of hurry up and be successful, hurry up and get me paid, we have these artists that are there with that mindset. But, you can tell which ones they are. Because the music sounds just like somebody else. Hey, didn't I hear that same subject just a minute ago? So, if the industry is wondering why their sales are down in certain genres, because they have nothing new to say. They can't rearrange those words. And an expression is not a lyric. It is an expression. If you use a bad word, so to speak, like MF, like Tupac used it, but it was an expression to emphasize his meaning, what he meant. He didn't use it as the lyric, you know. It was an expression. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference. So when you use you create the words as young people, remember, in foreign languages, our sentence said one way is forward, moving right to left to right. But in the foreign languages, it's from right to left. And so if you have that S word or F word, and it says, and your English word or sentence ends with me, it will interpret as me ending in the vowel length. In other words, I am F, or I am F. All right, it doesn't read the way you think it's going to read. So you have to be very careful in your the construction of your sentences, so that it will be interpreted as an expression and not a lyric.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, of course it do. The one that only said that. Of course it does. I listen. I learned to listen because I've made many mistakes back in the day in the bands, doing music just for the fun of it, and later on, when you get older and listen to it, you're like, did I do that? I do that.
yes. But it's a great thing, this industry. But the one thing that I'm really working on is that book and promoting it, and it's affected the sequel to it, which is Generations, will let you know that this is the sound of Philadelphia, and all the people that came from Philadelphia all the way to Hollywood and Broadway. We were generations upon generations in a magnet city, just like Detroit, with multiple the sound of the Motor City, and we were the sound of Philadelphia. And the funny thing is, as successful as Motown was, it was Philadelphia National that made record sales history over Motown and everyone else. I'm just talking about to dominate the charts with close to 500 number one records in 1 year in 10 years is phenomenal.
Right.
And we changed the industry from a single record buying market, which was what Motown Motown specialized in is their singles. Philadelphia International specialized in concept albums. So that's it, and full albums of great material. And some of the other albums before us, Motown albums or Columbia had records albums. Aretha Franklin had beautiful albums, full albums of great songs. Those artists were rare in the 60s, but it became the norm because of Philadelphia National in the 70s.
Okay.
So we need to get back to that now. We really do. In the 21st century, we need to understand what an album should be. If you want to sell an album or an EP, put some juice in it, baby. Where's the beef? Put the beef in it. Don't rip off the public.
So that's right now you're doing consultant for artists and record companies right now?
And film companies, you name it. I have to get up early in the morning. Yesterday I got up at 2 a.m. Until I worked straight through until about 10 last night.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and this is what I have to do. From this one to that one, they call me all over the world. It's like I'm answering the questions, giving them advice. And that's what I do. Besides doing that, I also am being a consultant to artists and record companies and producers. And I'm also advising in film, as well as business ventures in terms of mergers and monetizing new projects. And this is another level than where I began. But when people call me a musician, songwriter, and et cetera, producer, blah, 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 I say, well, thank you very much, because I cannot forget that's where I began.
Right. So do you have your information for artists to contact you, or they have to be at a certain level, or go
to my website, which is mawaincpub.com.
What is it?
MAWAINCPUB.com.
Okay. And I will post that. I will post that also.
Great.
I don't want to.
I sent some material to you through Wayne, but yes, use that material. Also, that's for the publishing house. And if you contact me, leave a note for me there.
Okay.
I'll be able to respond to you. And also advise you if you'd like to be an author and publish your books and all these things. I know publishing. Which brings us to the point of the subject of copyright reform.
Right.
Copyright reform. What's wrong with the music industry today? I was talking to an executive from California just about an hour ago. And he says, I was reading that at the peak of record sales in 1999, that the music industry has lost half of its revenue. Well, I said, my friend, you're looking at the glass half empty. I look at the glass half full. And what we have to do to fix the industry and help everyone in this industry from the bottom to the top is to raise the streaming royalty rate. And that is something that I'd like the entire community and citizens of the United States and all overseas to write their congressman at musicfirst.com. And there's a prompt there that will tell your find your representatives in your area, in California, in Mississippi, and Buffalo, New York, to Boston, everywhere in this country. That site will find your representatives, construct a letter, and send it to, and you can send it to them from that site to advocate and endorse copyright reform. What does this mean? What happened to the revenue is that physical pieces became obsolete because of the internet making it easy to distribute music product, entertainment product, to every living soul on earth that have internet access.
Right.
And so what the Recording Industry Association of America has determined is that is actually each spin on the internet is a record sale and a regular performance. So, and the current royalty streaming rate is now not less than 1,000th of a cent. It's 0.00085,000 of 1 cent per stream. So when you talk about 100 million spins on Google or YouTube, you're talking about $4,000 in revenue for the writers, for the record companies, for the employees, for the data input people at Verizon. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's not going to sustain anybody's business. That is not correct. If you're selling it for selling our download for $1 or $1.29, what's coming to the industry? So, and why would they buy the download when they could download it off of YouTube too? So,
right.
That's free. However, Google, they make their money from every time you click that song to spin. They count it as a sale for them. Why should that not be counted as a sale, which it is, according to RIAA, for the creator, the content provider, the creators of that music product.
Right.
So now we have to redetermine the value of each spin. That raising up the Songwriters Equity Act, which would raise the streaming spin to 10 cents, would completely change the face of the entertainment industry around the world.
Oh, wow. So, in other words, you're saying to go to musicfirst.com, correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Follow the prompt that says act now.
Act now. Okay.
And it's going to ask you to put your zip code in. And the computer search will find your congressional representatives in your area. And then we'll list them. And then at the next page, we'll put in a letter, we support such and such law. Songwriters Equity Act. A fair pay for fair play copyright act. Now, this letter will be constructed. You'll be able to read it and then approve it and send it to each and every one of your congressional representatives in your area. Now, what this would mean is now your congressmen and congresswomen now know that you care about this industry.
Right.
And the other thing, the side effect of that, or the side benefits of that, is more revenue in the entertainment industry means more jobs, more revenue for America, more taxes. It would have such a far-reaching effect on the entire economy that we would find ourselves pulling everything back up. The economy is falling because our revenue is falling, entertainment, you see, this is one of the greatest imports of America, and has always been. Why shouldn't it be that right now?
Mm-hmm.
And we need the world and our citizens to realize this and support us.
Right.
And even the ones that are not going to make it, but have some bodies out there, they would now be able to get some revenue from their works. The ones with 3,000 spins, 10 cents per spin for the 3,000 would be $300. That would enable them to buy another piece of equipment so they can improve their music. And then the next time they get 30,000 spins. That would be, $3,000.
Right.
So and so forth. Instead of sending them $2 check from Google.
Exactly. Exactly. Wow, that is very, very interesting. Very interesting. And inspiring. Like I said, when I was reading your bio and the whole works, you have so many inspirational quotes, and I know that you've been around so long, and you just know so much in the industry, and it's very important for a lot of talent to hear everything that you have to say, and especially on the copyrights. I know how hard that is for a lot of artists to for royalties and the whole works, and that is just so important, and I really like how you put that, so I want to make sure that I get all the information up, when we air this, for everybody to know to do exactly that.
Exactly. And if they need any more further instructions, I'm always on Facebook by the day. I check my messages on Facebook. I'm the only Bruce Hawes on Facebook. The Stevie Wonder, my friend Stevie Wonder in my photo.
Yeah, I found you. I found you. Okay, well, huh?
I just want everyone to come to Facebook, look up Bruce Hawes. You can't, I can't become a friend, but I can follow you because I'm over 5,000. But if I have the follow prompt enabled, that would connect us. And if you send me a note, I will write you back. I write back everybody. I even call people all over the world.
That is so cool. That is so cool because I do the same. I have, a lot of talent that posts videos and the whole works on there, and I get to it. I try to answer everything also, because that is so important. When someone sends you information, they send it for a reason. And that's a good thing that, some of us out here, do that, and I.
Absolutely. Well, we have to be that type of a community where we give back, make ourselves available.
Exactly.
Because it's not all about us. This is a group of great talent, young, old, and in between.
You're right.
And so our responsibility and what makes us stronger is that we are united. I don't care if you're a rock and roll artist or if you're a flamenco dancer, a Spanish flamenco guitarist in Spain, or you do Arabic music, or you do traditional Mandarin music in China. It doesn't matter to me. What I do is I invite everybody, and I answer everybody, and I translate in multiple languages. You'll see me respond in every language in the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I can only do English.
Language you speak, I can answer you.
I can only do English.
Well, one of my favorites is from India, and this week I'm doing a young man from Spain, Amir Baraki too, the second, and he was born in Persia, the Persian Gulf, in Iran, but he lives in Spain. And I don't care where you were born, because music is not political. It's universal.
Right.
And so I wanted people to understand and embrace that every genre of music can be fused together. And we as a community, world community of good people, have to fuse together,
Right.
That's our salvation. And let music be the leading force to bring us all together.
Right, right. Well put. Very well put from the one and only. Well, I really thank you so much for rolling on live with the Pantheress today for OnLive magazine. Is there anything else you would like to add before we roll out of here?
Yes. With the book, Growing Up in the Town of Philadelphia from the Inside Out, is on every website, book-selling site in the world, at least 39,000 of them. You can go to my writing put and get the book number and take it to your library, your local library in your neighborhood, and borrow the book. The librarian will order it for you if you don't have the money to buy it. So don't be discouraged by the price. Just remember that I made it available at the American libraries throughout America.
Oh, cool. Oh, cool. Okay, we're going to roll up out of here. Well, I should say mellow out of here because we're going to roll out with I Want to Be Mellow by Mr. Bruce Hawes.